One of my longtime customers, Harry, is a big fan of Steve McQueen in the Bullitt movie, so he had us build an exact replica, right down to the greened out rockers and the blacked out taillight trim. Now he wants to start driving it like Steve McQueen, so we said, listen, the stock suspension might not be up to the job. So we're going to take it for a spin, see how much roll we get, see how it works, and then we're going to add Control Freak suspension. The boys at NPD were kind enough to say, this is the system you need if you want to start driving your Bullitt car like Steve McQueen. You can even feel just driving along, the car's a little bit floaty over the bumps. And that's just from a soft spring and a regular shock absorber. Even if it's a new shock, it's not a performance shock in this car. Now we're going to get through the corners a little and we'll see how it works here. And here you can feel a fair bit of body roll. Oh yeah, absolutely. The car really needs to be stiffened up, both front and rear. It's got a fair bit of body roll. And actually, you can feel it actually rubbing a little bit on that one side. It's tilting over so much. The guys in the shop are going to start out by taking out the coil spring. They're going to take the whole front spindle with the rotor off, remove the lower control arm, and remove the upper control arm. Before we can install the upper control arm, we're actually going to lower it 1 inch and set it back a hair. The template comes with the kit. We'll start with a pilot hole and then make the big hole. The nice thing about a coilover shock is the ability to adjust the ride height. The rear end is a little bit more complicated. It requires some welding skills. Once the brackets have all been installed in the right place or tacked in the right place, you might want to install the rear end one last time and then do your final weld. It also requires some welding in the car. You can see where the front of the brackets are welded to the inner part of the frame. The issue is anytime you weld on a rear axle tube is there's a good chance the welding is going to distort it. Here we're running a shaft through and you can see that the axle tube has now been distorted. So the way to straighten the tube is to do it on the opposite direction. Again, we're just using a TIG there to create some heat and bend the tube back using the heat. This is a trial and error process. You're going to keep welding along that edge until the tubes are straightened. Now we're ready to install the rear end. With any 4-link system, you can attach the front links and the rear links and then jack the rear end up into place. Again, the best part of a coilover system is the ability to adjust the ride height. And you want to make sure that the shocks are sitting straight up and down. Once everything has been tacked into place, you can finish welding all the parts together. Well, the true test for any product is a road test. Let's find out if it makes this car work any better. Well, right away, even in a straight line, we have no more wheel hop. When we pulled the leaf springs out of the car, the actual strap was broken on it, which means this car was getting a ton of wheel hop when the guy's doing burnouts, and who's not going to do a burnout? So we've eliminated that problem. Now let's see how it works around the corners. Way more balance. It's really nice, actually. Now the only issue is the car works really good without it. If we put the rear sway bar in the car is going to tend to step out a little more. And maybe that's what you want in one of these. So here's the deal. It's not a simple install, but it is something if you take your time and you're a proficient welder, you can do it all yourself. The front end's no problem for anybody. Now, the benefits of it, like I said, in a straight line, it works great. Around the corners, it works great. It's also adjustable as far as the ride height goes. This is nice and easy, and you can always tweak with it.